guys, before we jump into the episode, I've got some exciting news to share. Our brand new website has just been launched and is live at paulbegleypodcast.com. This is now your one-stop hub for everything podcast related. So instead of scouring all over the internet looking for links to the show, you can stream every episode, watch our latest YouTube videos, check out our guest directory to see who's been on the show, and even read our brand new blog for extra content. And if you're enjoying this podcast, we encourage you to leave a review right on the site. There's no login hassle needed to do this. Everything's right there. It's easy to access, mobile friendly, and it's built for you. So while you're listening today, take a second to check it out. paulbegleypodcast.com. Now back to the show.
All right, everyone. On this episode of the Paul Begley Podcast, we have with us the one and only South Bay Mike from San Diego, California. All right.
Crowd goes wild. Where's that crowd button? Don't we have one of those?
I think I have a crowd goes mild.
Where's that at?
You have one at home.
Yeah, I got one at home. I love to do that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, South Bay Mike is a world-class tattoo artist. He is a musician. He is a wonderful family man, a father, a husband, and a strong Christian. And he is just he's a great friend of all of ours. And we're so excited to finally have him, to nail him down and get him onto this podcast. South Bay Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
Right on. Pastor Paul, I know you've got a bunch of burning questions for him, so I'm going to let you go right in.
Well, first time I met Mike, I get a phone call. I think I was in North Carolina. I was at Drew's house, and they said, some guy from P.O.D. is on the phone. He wants to go to Israel with you. I said, now get out of here. And they said, no, seriously. And so I get on the phone with Mike, and he starts telling me, that he wants to go to Israel. He wants to go to the nation of Israel. And here it's 7 days before we're leaving. Okay.
Oh.
So I tried to figure out a way to get him into the tour, but it's too late. It was booked. We already had 50 some people, and it was booked. So Mike and his daughter and this elderly lady that wanted to go, which Mike just paid for and brought her, they went ahead and came, and so he followed along with a rent-a-car behind the bus. But anyway, I just want to say, we Mike is Paul and I have been talking. He's a true Renaissance man. If you realized his life and his ability with tattoos, which is he's an incredible world class, and he's done a lot of tattoos for a lot of celebrities. But he's also a scratch golfer, and he's also one of the best cooks. I've ate the best ribeye I've eaten steak in almost every of the best steakhouses in the world.
It's incredible.
And he's got his is best. So anyway, I wanted to start with this with Mike, and that is as a child, growing up in San Diego, and you got cancer as a child, and I don't know how old you were at the time.
I was 5.
Tell us a little bit what happened in the experience what that meant for you.
Sure. So I was 5 years old, and my dad, he was in the Navy, and so I got to go to the Naval Hospital Balboa.
That's where Paul was stationed.
Yeah.
And that's where my oldest was born.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, they changed a lot of things, but back when I was there in the late 1970s, I went in because I had an ear infection, and when you go to the ENT, they tell you ear, nose, and throat, and when you're working with the government, it's ear, nose, and throat. There's no exception. Doesn't matter if your ears are hurting, doesn't matter. We're going to check it all out.
Right.
So it's really weird because we get there, and my mom, they tell her that, hey, we need to check it all out. Well, you don't need to check everything. You just need to check out his ears. No, ma'am. They argued, I kid you not.
Who, your mom argued?
2 hours.
With the doctor?
With the staff in the front, yeah. For 2 hours. I'm like, how does somebody argue at the counter for 2 hours?
Yeah, that's exhausting.
I mean, I don't even know.
I don't get it.
You'd be arrested now.
You
You can't do that now. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad that my mom subsided to them, because when I went in and the doctor, his name was Dr. Orion, he was looking in my mouth and he said, "Hey, Michael," which I hate, by the way.
Michael, okay.
He said, "Michael, did you stick or hit yourself with a popsicle stick in the roof of your mouth?" I said, "No." "Did you push anything in your mouth?" "No." "Okay, I want to check this out. I want a biopsy right now."
Wow.
What?
I want a biopsy right now.
Yeah, today it's like, let's see what happens in 2 weeks. So they do the biopsy and comes back and he says, "Okay, this is basically not good."
Yeah.
I was diagnosed with what's called mucoepidermal carcinoma of the hard and soft palate. And what that is, it's a carcinoma. So it's like a smoking cancer, right? Secondhand smoke.
Right.
I was the only child in the United States to have it.
You're the only child in the entire United States that had this cancer.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my Lord.
It's an old person's cancer.
Yeah.
And so they were astonished that somebody at 5 years old would have this. So we started the whole process, and it was a week of just going in and out, in and out. And then I went, and they had this interview panel for the doctor that had discovered it. And it was 200 doctors from all over the nation.
Because of the rarity of you.
Correct. And they had doctors that came in to watch the surgery, to see all the facets that went with it. And they took it out, and they said, "Okay, we're all good." 2 weeks later, it came back.
It came back.
Yeah. And then so they cut it out again, and then they, wrapped up some kind of, I don't know what it was in my mouth. It's all in stitches, and it came back.
It came back again.
And so it's very, very aggressive. And because it's, in the mucal part of things, it can spread to your brain really, really, really fast. So they opted to send me to Hollywood, California. And, I tried out for some acting. No, I'm just kidding. They sent me to the Ronald McDonald House. And that's where I was going to receive my treatments of radiation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, back then, radiation was just coming out. It wasn't like today when you have proton therapy or targeted radiation. It was very broad. They put a net over my head, and then it was, just blasting.
Just blasting you with radiation. Yeah. Have you ever heard of this, Paul? Have you ever heard of this kind of cancer?
I haven't heard of this type of cancer, and that's what I was curious about. I was trying to look up some images for it. I didn't know if there was any specific thing that the physician saw.
It was a reddish, purplish spot.
Okay. All right, so there was like a hallmark.
Yeah, if you look it up, the way you spell it is epidermoid. It's epidermo, but it's epidermoid, O-I-D. So E-P, E-P-A, D-E-R-M-O-I-D, and then you'll see it. And
I think I got a picture here.
Okay.
If let me share it there.
Yeah.
All right.
It was in the roof of my mouth.
I mean, to be the only child in the entire country with this, and it was a test case at that point. They brought in all these doctors just to find out how did this happen and what are we going to do. And so were you kind of a test case at this point, or test treatment?
Yeah, it was, kind of. I remember, it was all new,
Yeah.
And so I remember to this day what it was like just laying under there in the red laser over the top of you. And, it's crazy because after going through all that, you go back to school. I was in fourth grade now.
Yeah, you got to go back to school. There it is.
Yeah.
So
that's yeah. Wow. That's not my
when,
mouth.
So no. But when the doctor saw that, he immediately said, "I got to do a biopsy."
Yes, immediately that day.
So he was a good doctor. I mean,
Very
he was
good.
a.
Dr. Orion, Dr. Novelty did the surgery. with, I believe. And then when it came back, Dr. Starts with a C. I'll remember. He was my uncle. It was funny. He happened to be my uncle's CPA.
He was your uncle's CPA?
Yeah.
Was the doctor?
Was one of the doctors when I went back for the third time.
And this is with the U.S. Navy, right?
Yes.
He was a naval doctor.
Yeah.
Which, Paul, you were in the Navy for several years.
Yeah.
And you actually were at that same hospital, or the naval hospital.
Yeah, beautiful San Diego.
Yeah.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, well, you would have been pediatric at the time, but because when I worked there, I worked in the oncology hematology unit, so I had a lot of cancer patients getting their treatment there, and then if they weren't stable enough, they would stay with us there. But I didn't work in pediatric department, so
yeah,
I'm familiar with.
I met a lot of guys, older guys, with that thing on their throat. Like, wow. You know,
Yeah.
They have to talk. That's just a kid, around all that stuff.
So how did you feel when you went back to school? How did the other kids treat you? I mean, and how did you feel about that?
So, the other kids, and it's really, this is cool because this will introduce my friend Sonny and Love.
Okay.
When I was in fourth grade, and I met Love and Sonny when I was in kindergarten.
And tell people who Sonny is we're talking about.
So Sonny is the lead singer for the band P.O.D, and Love was the drummer for P.O.D.
So you've known them since you were in fourth grade?
No, since kindergarten.
Since kindergarten?
Yeah, since 5.
Yeah.
Right before my cancer came.
Yeah.
So, I was a little fat-cheeked kid, but radiation will do a number on you.
Yeah.
So I came back to school after the treatment, and, it's kind of rough because, even though you don't know what's going on, and kids are not very nice,
No.
I would have numbers and lines and things written on my face. Today it'd be cool. It's like tattooing your face.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their face tattooed.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, I'd have like numbers and letters and here and there, and it was all in purple. And so the kids were like, "What is this?"
Right.
They didn't know.
No.
And so Sonny, I remember Sonny and Wolf both. Well, even though I could defend myself, but they would step in and be like, "Hey, you don't know what he's going through, man. Back off."
Yeah.
And so they were always kind of there in that way for me.
Yeah.
When I was younger,
Yeah.
And we just developed a beautiful friendship, relationship, brotherhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good. That's really good.
So how old were you, Mike, when you did meet Sonny?
I was 5.
Oh, you were. Okay. So,
Yeah, I was in
during the
kindergarten.
treatments and everything.
Before.
Oh, so you guys,
like we didn't
known
know
each other forever. Then.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Forever.
So then you got involved traveling, and Israel can speak to this because Israel, of course, is a musician and artist who toured the country with his own band before touring with, I guess, Amway and with Leanne Rimes and Hotel California and all those. So he traveled all over. So you did the same thing. You traveled with P.O.D.
I did.
Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and what that was all about? I mean, that was a big deal.
Well, it was 2 separate times. It was about 15 years, but so from the very beginning when they started, it runs into another story, but and we can go back there because you'll probably want to know about how I got saved and
I will want to know how you got saved.
But yeah, just I've known Sonny One all my life, and I separated for a while, did my punk rock thing. But the touring came in 91. 94 is when we really went on tour. And it was just us in a van, in a truck.
Yeah.
And just doing house shows and church shows. And the only reason, see, here's the thing about P.O.D. A lot of people thought, oh, P.O.D. is this Christian band, right?
Right.
We were never labeled as or thought of as a Christian band. Christians in a band, yeah. Spreading the news that they wanted to spread passionately, yeah.
Yeah.
But playing anywhere and everywhere, we're welcome. House parties, whatever. The church, however, in San Diego didn't want to support P.O.D.
Ah.
Because back then, rock and roll.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's too much, man.
Yeah.
Too much for the church, bro. And it's like, what, dude? It's like Chuck Smith. Chuck Smith always said, if the Lord's moving, you better move with him.
Amen.
You know?
Amen.
Things change. And this certain individual didn't want to move with him. So so we took off on the road, and we go to Knoxville, Tennessee, and we go to Little Rock, Arkansas, and Tulsa, Oklahoma, and all over the place, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and play wherever they wanted us to play. And that's how they built their fan base.
Yeah.
I mean, they sold 500,000 records.
Wow.
Before the internet came out. Okay?
Wow.
Because of the fan base.
Yeah, they built a loyal fan base. Well, Paul, P.O.D. was your favorite band. I mean, you used to tell us about that. I mean, that, you know.
Yeah. So, well, when I heard that, I'm sure I was trying to share in the background one of the music videos. I don't know if that's working for Israel though, but I got the sound off on it. But yeah, that's what when you had mentioned to me, like, hey, you know, I met this guy, South Bay Mike, and then we're gonna go have dinner with Sonny. He's like, you know who Sonny Sandoval is? I'm like, well, I wasn't familiar with his name. You know, most people aren't really familiar usually with the lead singer's name, except for certain bands. But I was like, yeah, P.O.D. for sure. Like, that was my main thing that I would listen to when I was in middle school. Actually, from 6th grade through probably 10th grade, that was like the main CD I would have on going to basketball games. So I'm definitely familiar with P.O.D. But this was the question I've been waiting to ask until you got on here, Mike. So I didn't look it up.
Okay.
I didn't ask Israel or Pastor, but my buddy and I were talking about what does P.O.D. actually stand for, because we always got it confused with the other band, Puddle of Mud. We're like, wait, hold on. They were like, I still don't know, so I wanted to ask on here. So what does P.O.D. actually stand for?
So P.O.D. is a banking term, and it's payable on death.
Oh, okay.
So that's what it means. Payable on death.
Yeah.
Wow.
And what did you say before that? It's a what term?
It's a banking term.
Oh, it's a banking term.
Yeah, it is a banking term. So was the concept of the band, your life, no matter what you do in your life, it's all you got a final payment coming. It's all payable on death.
You know, the band before P.O.D. was Love, Marcos, and 2 other guys, Andre and Gabe, and the band they had was called Eschatos.
Eschatos. Okay.
Like eschatology, right?
Yeah, eschatology. Well, I would have fit in there.
They came up with P.O.D. Well, we know, Christ, it's payable on death, right?
Right.
So, when someone dies in a banking term, the debt is paid.
Yeah.
Right?
It's paid at death.
We know what that is. That's Christ, right?
Yeah.
So, but they wanted to sound metal.
Yeah.
Payable on death.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
it's got to have death in it, man.
yeah.
So that's where that came from. It's funny because just touring and all that, and selling all the records that they did and doing all the hard work, the demos and Snuff the Punk,
Yeah.
and all that, it was just a cool time. I remember all of it. I remember every bit of it. I go back to my mind and I remember getting the tape decks, you know what I mean, and us getting them out and stuff, and just really cool. But P.O.D., Sonny and Love, I mean, they didn't come from. We all didn't come from Christian homes, In fact, Love, his dad, Sonny's uncle, they were in some pretty rough stuff.
Yeah.
Sonny's mom, she was dealing cocaine, bro. You know? She was known as, they kind of called her like the White Queen, and Sonny and Love's dad, he was a brawler, and he was a barroom brawler, and but he got radically saved. He was supposed to go try out for Jakey Lee, with Ozzy, right?
Yeah, with Ozzy Osbourne.
And instead he got invited to a concert at a Calvary Chapel.
At Calvary Chapel with Chuck Smith?
No, in San Diego.
Okay.
And he's like, well, what is this, dude? Nah, man, it's cool rock music, you know. And so he went. And him and his wife are on the verge of, you know, they're done, divorced, you know, whatever. Getting ready to get all that done. And she was young, you know, they were in their teens. I remember he ended up going to the concert and getting radically saved.
Amen.
He couldn't read or write, really. He learned how to read from reading the Bible.
Amen.
Yeah, which is really awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So you know, Wolf has woken up. You know, when he was young, I remember clearly the story. Him and his sister coming out of their room, and the mom and the dad are in the kitchen, down on the floor with 2 guns in the back of their head.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Wolf would tell that story a lot, and you know, it's just that's the kind of life they lived.
Yeah.
And Noah, you know, when Noah got saved, he, you know, he would stay outside the front of the house in his truck. And his wife, you know, Agnes would be like, dude, this fool needs to get out of here. But he stayed the course. And he showed her Jesus is real.
Amen.
And they ended up both coming to Christ. And,
Amen.
you know, the story goes from there. Noah was a big part in P.O.D.
Yeah. So that's why the music was so positive, and churches, you know, there were not all churches, but some churches would have you come. You
most
know,
wouldn't,
but some did, and then a house in big concerts. And I understand Billy Graham even Sonny told me this, that Billy Graham invited P.O.D. to come and sing at a concert in San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah, Billy, and Sonny sat down with Billy Graham.
Yep. And we saw him in Texas, too. We're at the stadium. I almost died that day, I remember. That was one of those choking incidents.
Yeah.
There's so many. Yeah. Billy Graham's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, so I think we talked about this on our interview, actually, with Israel. The reluctancy, right? And you see it with P.O.D. as well, like the reluctancy of most churches to invite this type of music in, and I think it probably goes back to a lot of what we like to call old heads in the church that associate anything that sounds rock and roll with devil music,
drums,
right?
If it's got drums, it's the son of God.
Yeah, you can't bring drums in. I remember in the day, because I was, you know, I grew up in a little house on the prairie, basically, and then in the churches there was no music. I mean, I went to churches where there were no music, none. They wouldn't let nothing.
Yeah, and
a drum set. And I remember my dad, when he was the first church, I think, in our entire area, who let he would do Saturday night once a month, Saturday night singings and invite singing groups. And I remember the first time he let a singing group come in with drums, a full band. And people freaked out. I mean, people freaked out. But other people loved it.
Yeah.
And it started a trend of slowly breaking over that stigma.
Yes.
You know, it's just crazy, the opinions that people can have of music and how they think it supersedes theology or whatever. I've had there's churches that won't have saxophones. I mean, I've heard literally people say,
"What's wrong with a saxophone?"
Well, for instance, for a while the Catholic Church had banned it.
They play in jazz bars.
Really, I didn't know this.
First of all, it's very influential. It grabs people. It's very powerful.
Yes, it is.
But people will see it as like a sensual instrument, or you know, that they have for, you know, romantic movies and this and that, and they try to put some stigma on it that you can't use it to praise the Lord. I remember thinking 12 years ago, I was like, you know, I would love to lead worship in church, but what would I do with my whole life? When would I be able to play harmonica or saxophone? I had this conversation with my wife. Like, how could I even play in church? I wouldn't even be able to do the things that I do.
Right.
And here we have Freedom Fellowship where we do all of it. Right?
Do it all. I think Sunday you played guitar. I saw you play guitar, sax, and harmonica all in one day. I love it when you do that, when you start to interchanging.
And singing.
And singing. And
you guys are going to see South Bay Mike play guitar and sing here in a couple weeks, too. He's going to be up with the band, and it's going to be,
Yeah, Freedom Fellowship.
And the wild thing is, with all that cancer that he had and went through with the treatment, he can sing beautifully.
Yeah.
I mean, you should hear this guy sing Eagles music. I know he won't do it, but I'm telling you, he's got a great voice. It's amazing.
Well, let me ask you. I mean,
Amazing.
because of course, the surgeries you had, a lot, and the cancer, and the removal of your palate,
part of it,
it's affected your speech.
Yes.
But for some reason, when you sing, your words are so much more clear.
Right. Well, when you're singing, you're using your diaphragm,
Mm-hmm.
and you're really pushing, so your vocal cords close.
Mm-hmm.
And which is really funny you bring that up, because you know as well as I do, 2 months ago, you wouldn't even be able to understand me right now.
Right.
Like, just the fact that I can speak the way I do today versus 2 months ago
Yep.
has been a miracle.
Yeah. Your clarity is unbelievably better in the language from 2 months ago.
Yeah, praise God. I mean, I've been talking a lot in Daytona to a lot of clients, but
Good.
some of them raspy, but the pronunciation is there.
Yeah.
The power behind it is there. And man, I'm telling you, when that happened to me, when I figured out what it was, when Sonny's doctor told me what it was, and then I could actually fix it.
Mm-hmm. That's
Man.
I bet you're getting emotional on that right now, because
The shades are covering.
the shades are covering the emotions.
Yeah. Well, so, and if you don't want to go there,
No, I
Mike,
don't
I
mind.
understand. But
I'm open.
But,
I'm open book, bro.
I mean, just for myself and the audience. So you mentioned 2 months ago. Can you share with us what happened 2 months ago?
Sure. I think it's important. So, 2 months ago, I was 2 months ago I had a heart attack, but right before that, I went to a vocal coach because I wanted to see, my vocal cords or the box. Like, dude, why don't I talk deep? I want to talk deep,
Right.
I want to sing lower,
Right.
not so much, I want to sing lower.
Right.
And so I went ahead and I went to this woman, spoke to her, and she's really good. And she goes, I'm very interested to see if it's the radiation that has not allowed your voice to drop.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Interesting. So she told me to go check an ENT out, and she had one and whatever. And that one wasn't there anymore. So Sonny told me, hey, go see my guy. He does Blink-182 and all these guys. So I go see him, and real nice gentleman. He looks in my throat, and he looks at all this. He says, you know what? There's a little scar tissue around your vocal box.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing. You have nothing on your vocal cords. It's on their little bone, and they don't close all the way when you speak. And that's why you have that mafia sound.
Ah.
He says, but
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you why you're muffled. Okay?
Okay.
Why am I muffled? Because you're speaking from the sides and back of your neck muscles, not in front.
Not from here.
Not from the front. And I go, what?
I never even heard this before.
Yeah.
I mean, I never heard of that before in all my life.
Right.
Seriously. So,
But it's funny because when I think of that, I think back to me when me and Aaron Lewis were talking on his bus. And he goes, well, bro, I can tell you're not speaking from here. And that guy could sing. So
he
knows.
can sing.
He knows all about the
Yeah.
vocal larynx and whatever. So the doctor he proceeds to tell me, Mike, I have 2 speech pathologists that are rock stars.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see them in 2 visits, they'll get you where you need to be. I'm like, whoa. Bro, we're talking 20-something years, man.
Right.
Ain't nothing fixing this but the Heavenly
But
Father.
the good Lord. Right.
Ain't nothing fixing this. So, I went to go see the speech pathologist, but that one didn't work out.
Uh-huh.
Just, reasons. So I went on YouTube and I found this woman. Her name was Terry Schneider. She's out of Northern California. And she does things with people that had head and neck cancer.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. So there's swallowing exercises, tongue exercises, and speech exercises. So here I am watching her on YouTube, and I'm going, K, Ki, Kai, Ko, coo, and then I'm doing all these other sounds.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is like warming up for singing. Ma, 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 ma,
Right.
So I'm like, what? All right, whatever. I do it for 20 minutes. The very next day, I go to the golf course, playing Torrey Pines.
Which he's a great golfer, by the way. Torrey Pines, you're playing Torrey Pines. I mean, he's a great golfer. The first time I went out golfing with you, and I'm terrible, and you're shooting a 1 under par, and I'm like, how does this guy do everything great? I mean, nobody does everything.
You shot your best game.
I did shoot my best game.
And you hold down on the last one.
I did. I know. Well, I had to raise my game. I had to raise it. I mean, it's embarrassing.
I taught him a little bit.
He did give me some pointers. If only I could remember them. Okay. But anyway, go ahead.
So I was there, and now normally when I'm around people, and this has been for over 20 years, I will speak, and either they won't hear me or they'll look at me funny. Huh? And I'm like, you know what? And I always have to tell them, I just thought of something. Sorry.
It's all right. It's a miracle. I mean, the end of the heart attack you just had 2 months ago, and you had 3 stents put in.
I used to have to tell people all the time before I'd speak to them, I apologize for my speaking voice. I had cancer when I was a kid. I'd have to go through the whole night.
You have to tell the whole thing every time.
Oh man, that's
And when I met up with these guys, when I met up with these guys, I just told them, hey, my name's Mike. Oh, hey, Mike, what's up, man? Cool. And something clicked. That's weird. Okay. Anyway, so we go on and we get to this hole, and I'm helping them guide them through this hole, and I'm coming up, and they're talking in a group. Now, normally when people are talking in a group and I come in, they don't hear me. And I was looking at my wife, freaking they don't hear me, man.
They don't hear you.
know?
Yeah.
And I go, what do I even bother trying to talk? So I spoke to him and I said, hey, you want to hit your ball over here? Because over here's out of bounds and whatever. And oh, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it, man.
You're like, hey, they heard me.
I'm like, what?
yeah.
They heard you.
And yeah, and I'm like, this is so weird. And so all day I'm playing with them, and they're hearing me. I'm like, these guys got great ears, or something's happening.
Right.
And I don't know what's going on yet. So I had to make a phone call, and I called the hospital because I had to make an appointment for something. Normally when I speak to, and I love Filipinos, I got a lot of Filipino friends. My mentor in Christ is Filipino. Normally when I speak to Filipinos on the phone, it's like this. Hello, my name is Edwin. Yes, sir, we need to make an appointment for you. And I'm like, hey, my name is Mike. Just, okay, ma'am.
Yeah, they think you're a woman.
Wait,
yeah.
what? Ma'am?
Yeah.
And then, sir or ma'am, you sound a bit muffled. Is the phone connecting?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Hey, we're not making fun of Filipinos here, but I mean, yeah, I'm just imagining some of my the calls I get, these
Indian ones,
telemarketers.
Yes, exactly.
But anyway, go ahead.
So, customer service. So, I speak to him and I said, hey, I need to make an appointment for March the 2nd, blah, blah, blah. Okay, sir, we have you down for March 2nd. And I'm just freaking out.
They're understanding you.
I'm freaking out. So I go, okay, I got to make a test. I go to Popeyes. Popeyes is delicious, by the way.
Popeyes, you're talking about Popeyes chicken
Popeyes, Louisiana chicken.
Which I love that spicy chicken.
Severely the most
like it,
underrated
Paul?
fast food chicken there is.
I mean, it's better than KFC.
Hey, if that ain't a plug, I don't know what is.
I'm not trying to plug them, but it's better than KFC.
Hey, we'll take it, though. But.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, right? Hey, maybe we can get some chicken delivered. So anyway, I get to the drive-thru, and never do they understand me. I have to repeat myself 3 times. I get there and I say, hey, can I get a number 4, I think it's the number 4, 3 thighs, classic style, mashed potatoes and gravy with the sweet tea.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a number 4, classic style, 3 thighs, mashed potatoes and gravy with the sweet tea. Anything else, sir? I'm like, whoa, sir, what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
And, dude, I mean, it goes on. Like, we went to Carl's Jr. AI and testing it. I talk to my phone now and gets it, which is not cool. But before I was happy. Hey, they're listening. Oh, they won't understand me. Now they understand me clearly. And dude, it's like I was blind for 25 years.
And now you can see.
And now I can see.
Yeah. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. And I think anybody watching this podcast has had any kind of disability from illness, cancers, car accidents, whatever it may be, of any type. I mean, amputations, people paralyzed, different things. If you're watching right now, anybody, and you've had that, and you've had to struggle with that, or people's perception of that, or your thought of their perception, because I'm guarantee you thought, and they may not even been thinking that, but you just assume.
Our mind's the worst enemy.
Yeah,
it's like Sonny said, the lies we tell ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, especially because you've been dealing with disabilities or limitations since you were a little boy.
Right.
So I mean,
but they never. When I was young and going through the cancer, I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
I met Michael Jackson. I met all these people.
Right.
It was cool, but I'll tell you what, man. The one thing that's the worst, and I don't wish this on anyone that goes through radiation, is the migraines.
Pretty bad.
Oh my God, dude! I've never experienced something like that in my life, where not only is a room flipping upside down, you feel just absolutely horrible. You want to throw up.
Right.
You're a kid, and you're laying on the couch, and it lasts for over 24 hours. It's unbearable.
Yeah.
And I've been through pain, and I've been saying, through all the car accidents, through all the broken femurs and broken sternums and whatever, that was the worst.
Was worst pain.
Yeah. The worst.
Well, I was curious to ask you too, Mike, about that. So, my father-in-law. Well, I mean, I mentioned I worked with chemo and cancer patients at the Naval Hospital, but my father-in-law passed away maybe 7-8 years ago, and his two favorite things to do were fish and play guitar.
Oh, nice.
And unfortunately, though, when he came home, he was on comfort care and hospice, and the chemo that he had went through, his fingertips were so sensitive that he couldn't even play. Push the strings down on guitar, which was really heartbreaking to see.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, did you go through that same sort of thing as well?
No. That's the interesting thing, man. And I'm not trying to say I'm one out of the box, but those type of things never happened to me. Whenever I get into an accident or something, and I've been in enough, and it's not because of my driving.
But it could have been. I mean, you may not have caused. You caused a few. I would think you caused a few accidents.
I haven't.
Okay.
But yeah, it could have been.
I mean, you have been in a lot of car accidents, motorcycle accidents. I mean, none of it your fault.
No, none, not one. I've been in over 28 major car accidents, and 4 major motorcycle accidents. And I've been hit by the trolley, and none of them my fault.
How in the world are you still alive? I mean, it's like you're not a cat. You don't have 9 lives, but so God's got a purpose. What do you think, Izzy? What's the deal?
You want to hear my story in Jerusalem?
Yes, please.
Okay, listen. So here's the deal, and the first part I'm going to say is actually a very a sad thing. The day that we were driving around, it was Shabbat.
You and Mike. Mike's driving.
Mike goes, "Hey, we just got done with the tour. We need to go get some food. They're shutting everything down at Shabbat. We need to go get some shawarma. We need to go to drive to the Arab side of town and get some food before everything is all closed." And okay, so we get in his little rental car and we start driving, and all of a sudden our GPSs stop working. They won't show us where the hotel is
because it's the Sabbath.
Well, I don't know if it was between the big buildings or what, but it literally, we drove around like 20 times in the same circles around the city. A large circle, okay, but still, I was like, we just passed this 5 minutes ago. Anyways, that day, there was a terrorist attack, okay?
Yeah.
And some terrorists had run over some Jews at a bus stop because it was Shabbat and they were all there, right? So it was just a big mix-up is why this story is so crazy. but I got my heart pounding, and we're driving later that day. It's almost sundown, and the Jews are going everywhere. The Orthodox, they got their kids in strollers, and they're trying to get home. They're in full dress, ready to have Shabbat dinner. We're trying to find shawarma. And finally, after the 20th time driving around town, we, normally when you turn onto a street, there's a left that you can go one way or you can go the other way, right? Some streets are one ways, right? But anyways, we're driving, and it turns out that this one street that we turn left on, he goes, "Oh, we're going the wrong way. I got to turn around." So he flips a U-ey, and we start to drive down the other side of the street. Well, the other side of the street wasn't really a street. It was actually like a trolley tracks.
What?
And it used to be a street, but they repurposed it. So it looks to us like it's a street,
right?
But it's not. Pretty soon, we're driving, and we're surrounded by Orthodox with their strollers, and everyone's trying to go to Shabbat. And it looks like we're driving up on a sidewalk to drive over people. We weren't. He was being careful, but we were on the wrong side of the street in the wrong side of town at the wrong time at Shabbat.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I said, "Mike, this isn't a street. I don't think this is a street." And he's like, "Oh, no." And there's people, just walking in front of us. And then, woo, 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 woo. I see the lights, and I'm like, "Oh, no.
Israeli police.
They're going to shoot us first and ask questions later. We're done." And they pull him over, and they start talking in Hebrew. And he's like,
cool.
"Hey, man, I'm American. I'm from California." And he's like, "Oh, okay." He checks his license. He says, "Well, I'll drive you guys out of here. Follow me."
Well, yeah, but first, even then,
oh man,
he gave us a hard time. He's like, "I want your license," and I'm like, "Well," I told Israel, let me play it.
Yeah.
"I'm from California, man. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where I'm at." And then he's like, "No, I need your license." So the female cop comes up, and she's like, "He's from California." Yeah. "Oh, okay. We'll get you out of here."
Yeah. Oh, he's from California. Don't worry. We'll get him.
And we ended up getting our shawarma anyway, so.
Okay.
We did.
That's what I was going to
I just want to know, did you get the shawarma?
We did get the shawarma. You know a funny story about the shawarma in Israel?
Yeah.
I hadn't been to Israel since I went with you.
Yep.
Since 2006.
Okay.
And I brought Israel, and Israel testified to this. We go into the little area where the menorah is.
Yep.
There's a shawarma place.
There is. I've been there. I know right where it's at.
It's called barbecue something.
Yep. It's really good.
I walked in, and the guy goes, "San Diego!"
He remembered you?
Oh, yeah.
There's no possible way.
Absolutely. I saw it.
San Diego. I mean, there's no way he could remember you.
Yeah. That's a true story.
By the way, shawarma, guys, is so good. And I know right where that's at because Heidi and I a couple different times on our trips to Israel, we would stay at what's called the Sephardic House, which is for Spanish Jews. And anyway, I met the owner of it, and he's a really good guy. He gave me a great deal, so we would stay there. So then Heidi and I would, a lot of times in the evening, we just say, "You want to go get some shawarma?" And we get up.
Right in the square.
In the square. So we just walk, and we'd walk into the square where the menorah is.
Yep,
sitting there. And this is on Mount Zion, folks, by the way. You're looking for shawarma on Mount Zion. Okay. And
by the Harvest Synagogue.
By the Harvest Synagogue. Yeah. And you go right there, and there's that little bitty spot, a little hole in the wall, basically.
Yep, right in the corner, yep.
But the shawarma is unbelievably great. And so...
yeah, he remembered me. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, if he remembered you, that's incredible. Wow.
So Mike, so you guys must be hungry over there anyway.
We're starving over
here. Talking about shawarma and Popeye. But I wanted to ask Mike, so actually on the subject of travel, Pastor had mentioned to me, and this is kind of going to lead into a little bit about some of the people that you've tattooed as well.
Sure.
Pastor was mentioning to me that you went and traveled to South Korea, I believe, to learn the art of, I believe it's Tabuki, right? Is that right?
Bokashi.
Bokashi. Okay.
Yeah, Bokashi. Yeah, I can tell you about that.
Tattooing.
Yeah,
a specific tattooing art that hardly anybody knows.
Well, no, people know it. It's just it's a technique.
But it's a technique that's very difficult to learn.
To me, it was. The reason I went is, and it's funny, I was on Instagram, and I've been tattooing for a long time, but there was always something that was missing. There was always this one type of shading that I didn't understand. And, we can put black and gray together, but there's this specific type of smooth silver. And I was like, dang, I saw this guy. And his name was, well, I might say his name is so hard to, Uigu. Uigu. But Zoomism is his handle. And I went on there and messaged him, and I said, hey, man, at the time, I've been tattooing for 28 years, and there's something that I just can't get. You think you could tell me how to do it? You know, normally guys are like, nah, I ain't telling you nothing.
Right.
And he was like, you know what? I like your work.
Okay.
He goes, better for me to show than tell.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, cool. You know, now mind you, I'm just in my house, you know, just chilling, talking to this cat. And he goes, do you plan a trip to South Korea? And I'm like, I can go to Korea, sure. He goes, okay, when can you come? And I'm like, well, let me look at my schedule and, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of busy, but let me look. And he goes, I want to see you as soon as possible. And I'm like, whoa.
Wait a minute. I just met you. I know you're good at what you do.
I met this guy online. He wants me to come to South Korea.
Come to South Korea?
Wait a minute. I met this guy online. I'm like,
It's not sounding good.
doesn't sound good.
No.
So I'm like, and I want to see you as soon as possible. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Well, in our vernacular,
Yep.
the sooner the better, bro.
Yep.
That's what it means.
That's what it means.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, cool. So I book a ticket for South Korea. Don't know this cat. I'm an adventure type.
You are.
I'm
You
pretty
are.
free-spirited that way.
Yeah.
I could go to the middle of freaking Mumbai and be just fine.
You'll fit in. You'll figure out a way. You'll figure out a way to.
I'll figure it out. And so I get there. I learn a little bit of Hangul before I go because I don't want to be the dorky white guy that just, you know,
lost.
doesn't know anything.
California guy.
Yeah, so I get over there and I talk to him a little bit and find out his wife teaches English and she's Korean.
Okay.
He has a place for me to stay below the shop.
Mm-hmm.
Above is the shop,
Mm-hmm.
and then he lives in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And tattooing is illegal in Korea.
Whoa! Wait a minute. Whoa! It's illegal.
Yeah, oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you find a guy who knows to do a specific art technique of tattooing in South Korea where it's illegal.
Yeah, and he went to prison for 2 years for tattooing.
And you're going to go there, hang out in his illegal tattoo shop, and learn his art.
I'm a rebel, Paul.
You are a rebel I would say without a cause, but you do have a cause. So, I like your cause. So,
I have a cause.
Okay. All right. So what happened here? You're in South Korea, going to learn.
Yeah.
It's illegal, but you're daredevil. So
Well,
here you are.
I stayed for 2 days. You know, and what's it called? That's 2 days. I'm sorry. I stayed for 16 days. And I sat every day and just watched him do this technique. And then he showed me how to mix the ink and things like that. And for, you know, this is really interesting, but for security purposes, I'm going to leave some details out.
Okay.
Because this could probably get somebody killed.
Yeah, don't do it. Okay.
So while I'm there, he takes me to a certain place, you know, and I won't tell you what the place is or what the guy does because it will,
yeah, you don't want to.
they'll find him like that.
Yeah, don't do that.
I get there, it's really cool. And I start looking on this old guy's wall and all these pictures of U.S. presidents.
Okay.
And I'm like, what in the world?
What?
And all these letters below. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, reading them. Thank you for your service to the United States of America. I'm like, whoa, dude.
Who is this dude?
So this guy, and I'm not going to mention his name. I'm not going to mention where he's at. Nothing. Not going to mention what he does. He was used by the United States government to infiltrate North Korea.
Wow.
And this guy's amazing. And, dude, I mean, just seeing all Carter, Nixon, freaking Reagan, Bush, Clinton, and I'm like,
Wow.
that's some serious service.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So okay, we don't know what he did.
Nope.
But we know one thing. He was a top level dude that the president undercover that the 5 presidents of the United States used.
It was amazing.
Wow.
So that was a really lovely experience.
Well, you learned the technique now, and now you apply it here.
Yes, yeah. When I do Japanese work, I usually will take the inkstone and the stick, and I will do that, and then I'll go ahead.
So who are some of the, as Paul said, who are some of the celebrities that you have? Aaron Lewis.
Oh yeah, Aaron Lewis. Yeah,
and if you don't know who Aaron Lewis is, guys, you know my song that I sing all the time, "Everybody Talks to God," which I think has been heard 10 million times now on the internet.
And I recently spoke to him, and he gave me permission to sing it.
And Aaron Lewis gave Mike permission to let me sing, which is a scary thing when you think about it. But
Aaron's a great guy.
But you tattooed Aaron Lewis, and who's some others?
I've tattooed so many bands, but I tattooed Rey Mysterio, the wrestler.
The wrestler, yeah.
A lot of football players.
Golfers.
Pat
Perez.
I'm going to be doing Pat Perez. Yep. Yeah. Pat Perez. It's coming up. Just from touring, I met so many musicians. But if you really know me, you know that I'm not the guy that's like, hey, I did all these guys.
No, you don't.
It's never been that way.
No.
I was asked to do the first tattoo TV show ever, and I turned it down. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
But now.
Wait, which one was that?
Go ahead. Yeah, what was that?
So it was, we were on tour, and we were in Singapore, and because we're doing the MTV Asia Music Awards, and the manager for P.O.D. came out to me, Tim Cook, God rest his soul. He's passed away now. He came out and said, hey, Mike, dude, you'll never guess who I got off the phone with. I said, who? TLC. I'm like, oh, the band? He's all, no, not the band. I'm thinking One Eye, Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls,
Yeah.
Don't go chasing, right, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's my rendition. Anyway, so I tell him, I said, well, who? He says, the Learning Channel.
The Learning Channel, okay.
So, all right, cool. I said, oh, they want to do another Orange County Choppers with P.O.D.? No, they actually want to do a tattoo show, and they want you to be the guy. I'm like, why? Well, because they know you, and we're in Ozfest as well. They know you tattoo all the musicians, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay. I said, so what do they want to do? Well, they want you to, tattoo your clients and let them tell their story about why I'm not interested. Cut him off right there. And he's like,
yeah.
Well, why not? He's like, you'll make money. I said, Tim, I already make money. You'll be famous. I don't care to be famous that way. My teacher taught me different. And I wasn't going to bring my wife into that because I knew at that time, it was going to be drama. That's what brings the rating, and that's what they probably wanted. And I said, look, if I ever do a show, I'm going to do it on my terms because I care about tattooing.
Right.
I am a tattoo artist through and through. I'm not just a fly-by-night tattooer. Right. It is who I am, Yeah. I mean, I'm a solid believer and follower of Christ first, but that's what He's given me.
Yeah.
And
that's your tool. That opens the door.
That's what I am.
And you use that as a great tool to also minister to people.
Yeah.
And you get the opportunity to meet a lot of different people, different types of people.
I've had hundreds of people come to Christ in the studio.
Yeah.
And I don't push it to them. I don't.
No.
Like me and Sonny always say, we're not the type of people. We're not pastors on stage.
I understand.
I might be a pastor. I might be a ordained minister, but I am not the guy that's going to meet you and say, hey, I'm Mike, South Bay Mike. I'm a Christian follower of Christ. You need Jesus.
No, that's not you. That's not you.
A tattoo on you. No, man.
No.
And Jesus didn't do that.
No.
And you don't do that.
I know. I don't do that.
And so,
either, no.
People need to understand that, we are people.
Yeah.
We are human beings. Jesus didn't, how do I say it, create us as Christians. We found Him.
Every one of us had to find Him as in our heart.
Because He drew us. And once He did, we said, okay, I'm going to walk this walk of life with you.
Amen.
And you're going to guide me. And when you speak to me, I'm going to speak.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what happens. When people are sitting in front of me, if the Lord should speak, and He does often, but if He should and says, hey, I want you to speak to this guy about this.
When the door opens.
I'm like, okay, I will. And I'm like, that's kind of personal. But I know my Lord's voice, and so I don't ever refute it. And the next thing you know, I can't believe you asked me about that. Why? Yeah. My wife is ready to sign papers right now. Next thing you know, they both get saved. Divorce is off the table. And I'm not saying that's everybody.
No, but it has happened.
It has happened.
Well, let me just say, and I've never had a tattoo. And Paul, you have tattoos, and Israel does, and Mike, of course, does, and he's a tattoo artist. I've never, but I come from a different era. You have to understand.
Yes. My dad doesn't have
and I don't have any judgmental attitudes toward tattoos at all. Matter of fact, some of the tattoos I see are really, really cool and great works of art. And I've seen your works of art. We've been showing it here on the in the post-edited version of the show. But you guys have had tattoos, and Mike, certainly since you do all of these tattooing, it's hours of work. So you've got somebody on the table maybe for 5, 6 hours, 8 hours while you're doing a masterpiece on them.
Yep.
So there's no possible way. It's a very intimate, it's a very personal thing.
It is.
So there's no possible way you can be working on somebody for 5 or 6 hours, and you're talking about a variety of things.
Yeah.
At some point, the door opens. You're not trying to push it open.
No, never.
It's just the Holy Spirit opens it to talk to them about Christ. Is that what happened?
That's exactly what happens. And I have a confidentiality clause because, number one, I am a pastor.
Yeah, I know.
I can't say.
Can't tell
say
other
nothing.
people's issues. No.
And number two, it's just, it's character to say, hey, you told me this in confidence.
Yep.
No one's ever going to hear it.
Everything that everyone's ever told me in confidence, I have never shared.
Yeah.
I will never do it. 40 years, I'll never do it.
I mean, I've heard things, and you've heard things that, would just throw you upside the wall. And you're like, I can't say nothing. Even if you think, oh my gosh, dude, the authorities should have known that.
Not going to say nothing.
Now I'll tell you, if a pedophile comes into my
That's a different
studio
story.
and says I've been raping this child.
No, that's different.
I'll probably take him down
That's
first.
a crime. That's right. That's a crime. I'm going to do it with him first and then hand him over.
And then hand him over, exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, but no, you do have those times, and it's one of the reasons that, I know you can ask about the show.
Yes, we're headed there.
And so all the newness there, that's one of the reasons that we, Sonny really wanted to do and be a part of this TV show that we're creating, is because there's a scientific part to when you're tattooing and people are dealing with the pain. Their endorphins come out. They start to release, and they have to speak.
Because it's painful what's happening.
Yeah, it's somewhat painful. And so, it's not death, but it's, it's like a cat scratch for hours.
It's like waterboarding.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, probably.
It's good for you sometimes.
Yeah, this is the reason, folks, I'll never get a tattoo. But these guys are scaring me to death, okay?
Well, if you've been scratched by a cat. So
pleasant.
while they're going through it, they're trying to deal with it. And so they just start telling you anything and everything about their lives.
Yeah.
And so I told Sonny, we were sitting in the RV, and I was tattooing him. And he looked around. He said, hey, man, he says, you could totally do a podcast in here. Now, that was before I could speak right.
Right.
Because I can hear myself, and I can hear that it's understandable. So I'm cool with that. And I told him, I said, Sonny, that'd be cool, but my voice is not for podcasting. And I said, I am thinking about doing a YouTube channel, putting a bunch of cameras up, because I care about the art of tattooing. I care about the quality. And so that's why you're going to have high quality, world-class tattooing on the show. When I told Sonny, I said, let's do a TV show. And he's like, a TV show? I said, yeah, bro. I said, Sonny, with our story, how long we've known each other, traveling on the road, and then going back on travel with this show, because it's mobile.
Right.
I go, with the guys we know, bro, we can meet up with them, tattoo them. You can talk to them, interview them. I said, because when I tattoo people, bro, it's just game over. They open up.
They will open up.
And he heard that, and he's like, dude, yes. And so now this show, it's a travel show.
Yeah, it's a travel show. Yeah. So it's being filmed, folks, right now. Does it have a name or not yet?
Off Point TV.
Off Point TV, because that's Off Point. That's what's on your rig, and we're showing that. Paul, I'm sure you're.
I'm gonna. Well, actually, I was gonna they have a teaser on the YouTube channel. I was gonna just play it on here. If you
Yeah,
guys
let's do it now.
You can play the
Can we
short.
do it now?
If you want to play the short, you can play that too.
Let's play it now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Paul, you
Here,
got
I'll
it,
just
or Izzy's
play a
got
little
it?
bit of it. We can cut it off.
either one.
Here,
Yeah.
let me just
Yeah, go ahead and
let me
play.
just share.
Here we go. Off point.
Yeah, I was gonna say while
While you're pulling it up,
though.
this is going to be a television show
Yeah.
that's going to be on some network. We don't know yet. He's in
There's
negotiation.
a couple people.
They're in
looking at us.
negotiation right now.
Mhm.
So, but when he does get it locked down and it's ready to roll, of course, we will let you know about that here on this podcast. We'll let you folks know when it's going to air and what channel it's on and what network it's on and what have you. Because it will be really cool. I mean,
It's
because
gonna
there's
be an
so
awesome
many
show.
reality shows out there right now that are so scripted and fake that they're ruining reality TV.
Right.
But this will be reality TV,
This will be a reality show.
a
That,
show that will be done in a way that be very well done and really be cool because it'll be
the way I want it done, like, because I'm an artist, right?
right.
I like things filmed in 24 and 30, which means per second, frames per second.
So you've already lost me. And I did television for 9 years. I didn't know anything about it. Okay, so
It makes it look more warm and more film-like.
okay,
You know, more artistic, more like
Okay.
a music video,
yeah,
right?
I got you.
That's how I want this show to come across. More, some dark in the way, you know, some light, but I don't want that 4K bright. Hey, what's going on,
No,
everyone?
you're wanting it
You
to be
know-
more authentic. You want it more authentic looking,
I do.
and you want the viewer to feel
I
that
want to feel
they're. You want
captured.
to put them in the
Yes.
studio
Yes.
or in your van that you travel with.
RV.
RV, excuse me, RV.
Israel, do you have that?
Izzy, you got
are able
that?
to do that?
Everybody always says
I'm
van.
sharing with you. I don't know if
I
you can
said
see.
van.
They
I didn't
always
mean
say
that. It's
van.
an
Yeah.
RV.
It's 24
Say that again,
feet,
Pastor.
man.
What's that?
Oh, I was seeing if you could see what I was sharing with you. I got it teed up over here.
Oh, I got to get a different screen. Hold on just a second.
Different screen.
Okay.
While he's pulling it up, though,
Yeah.
Mike, I wanted to say. So there was like, I had just got a new tattoo recently. I'm finally almost all the way healed with it.
Okay.
But I saw a good meme about tattoo artists serve two purposes, and that's kind of what you were talking about as well. As they're an artist and they're a therapist at the same time. So, and
Wow.
I feel like-
Psychiatrist.
yeah, psychiatry. Yeah,
Oh,
just,
yeah.
well, in your case too, you're also witnessing if somebody's willing or open to listen to that.
Yeah, there's some people that you can tell right away. Hey, they turn off and, all right, cool, let's just get to tattooing. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not going to push anybody to do something they don't want to do. I'm not going to force, you know, even in the show, it's not a Christian show. I want to make that clear to people. It's not that we hide our faith, not at all. I mean, it's right there.
Yeah.
We're loving people, and Jesus told us to love people.
Yeah.
You know, we got guests on the show that are not Christians.
Right. I understand.
And, you know, it's just, we don't want it to come off like this.
You don't want it to come off real religious.
No,
You just want it to
no.
be open and real and let it flow and let the Lord come out when he comes out.
Absolutely, man. Love,
Okay.
love.
So what do we have this queued up?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I love that. I love your
We're gonna
graphics
play
there.
button.
Yeah, Danny, he'll put that together.
yeah.
Not just then, right? Because here's the thing that's I envy about music. You guys can play the hits as long as you want.
Yeah.
And it's people
Yeah.
are just gonna reminisce in that, right? They're gonna
Yeah.
sing along. We could go back to a couple of jokes,
That's
maybe
it.
one.
Yeah, you're
one
always fresh.
special to the next.
Yeah. True.
But if you do the same thing 3 times, you can't.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen comedians do that, and I'm
We're
like,
done,
this
yeah.
is, and they've had like live recordings, and I'm like, well, that's even worse because
Right.
I've heard it
Yes. Yes.
multiple times already,
Exactly.
just on the live recording to a drive or whatever, and you're still doing the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So
okay, I get you.
we have to
Sorry, frozen.
create
Yeah. Constantly.
like constantly,
Yeah.
and in that creation, we still want that feeling of
Yeah.
I want to hear that again,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But they don't know that they don't want to hear it again. They think they want to hear it
Yeah.
again, and then they hear it and they're like, "Oh, it was funny the first time." It was like because
I went to go see and hang out with Los Lonely Boys.
Oh, nice.
Those guys, you know. and they were playing in Vegas and stuff, and I hadn't seen them play in a long time. You know, I'm watching them throw down. You know, watching Henry throw down. You know, watching his moves. You know, I'm like, that's bad.
Yeah.
Dang, you know, doing that side shuffle with the guitar and stuff like that. You know, and then gets up and just break down into the blues. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, it's like those are all techniques, man. It's like those are I admire those techniques, you know, for all the time that they've done it, man. They really do that well.
Yeah. What's the best part you think about your daddy and who he is? What's your favorite thing about your dad?
That he's a singer,
Yeah, that's cool.
and that he's the best dad in the whole world.
That's what I'm talking about.
What's your favorite thing about your mom?
Same thing.
Yeah,
Same thing?
she's the best mom ever. Okay, then I'm gonna ask your daddy. What's the best part about being a daddy?
Oh man, it's just sharing all the moments. You know, it's trying to be a better person yourself because your kids have their eyes on you.
Yeah.
You know, so like
He makes you a better person.
Oh man, you know, I work really hard at trying to be the best person I can be.
Wow.
Really cool.
Who was that last guy? He just.
So that is Andy Vargas. He's the singer for Santana.
Okay, that was the same guy that was talking earlier, Andy Vargas. Okay, I
When I
got it.
showed you the one,
Yep.
He's been the longest running singer for that band.
For Santana.
Yep.
Yeah.
Over 20 years.
Wow. I mean, I love the concept. I love watching a show that's kind of documentary, but not,
Right.
but realistic
Yeah.
and real and on right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Paul, do you know what I'm
It's like
getting at?
Yeah, it's like, and that's what I was going to mention. Is like, man, because I watched that before because Israel sent it to me, and I was like, oh man, I love the production value of it, and I was like, oh, this is a really cool idea for a show. You
It
got
is.
a tattoo artist, you got celebrities in there, and then you got Sonny as well, also celebrity.
Right.
It's really cool. So you guys are kind of blending music, tattoos, and then also
In real
podcast
life.
Well,
format.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
reality.
whole point with it, bro, is we want their fans to know who they are for who they are, not who
Yeah.
some publication might say they are,
Right.
or not for some hit piece. You know,
No.
we want.
Yeah.
I was talking to Aaron Lewis once about it, and he's like, "Conversations under the needle,"
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Well, yeah, but that's not what it's called."
But, yeah. But so in other words, it's reality. It's people being tattooed, so you got the artistic side of that.
Right.
Some of these
Right.
folks are going to be
Yep. Most.
which are most of them are going to be. So that's fascinating. Okay, to the viewer.
Because we'll be backstage on a lot of
And
things.
yeah, that's backstage thing. And then so now I'm seeing this celebrity in a different light. I'm seeing him in a
Right.
real world situation, real world talking while being tattooed, which that's fascinating in itself. And then there's Sonny over here, and he's asking questions. Mike, you're doing your work, and the whole thing. I'm interested now. Anybody watching that is going to say, "Wow, I'm getting a backstage view here,"
Exactly.
and that's really cool. Anything that's done in that type of concept is cool.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
interesting.
that is cool.
It's just the traveling part of it too is gonna be fun because there's some fun times to it.
Yeah.
When me and Sonny are gonna be in the rig, we're gonna have our conversations.
Sure you will.
And people
Yeah.
will get a backside to Sonny as well.
Yeah,
more.
and you.
And me.
So, and you
I'm
will
not that
become.
important.
Well, let me just say this: is if this lands at a major networks, you will become the tattoo guy. Okay, you
Yeah,
will
yeah.
be the guy. That then now it change. It's and I'm just saying. I know you don't care.
I know what you mean.
I know you don't care about that, but I care about that because the reason I do is because I know who you are. I know what your values are. And I mean, I know you've been following me on YouTube for years, and
studied you.
and you've studied me, and you've studied all of them. So I must be okay if you're still hanging out with me. and you supported me, and you know, you're the real deal, and I really appreciate that. I mean, Paul, do you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, my mind is just spinning with the ideas for the show. But I would recommend to really, I would just pretty much do your own thing and put it on YouTube, so that way you guys are the creators. You don't have anybody telling you what to do. But ultimately, I think Netflix would be a great spot.
Great for Netflix or Amazon Prime. Yeah,
endless budget from them too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
because you need to financially be supported by it as well. It's a lot of hard work.
Of course.
This is a lot of hard work, a lot of effort, a lot of money invested in your travel and working with people and all that, and the camera work and the music behind it and all the editing. I mean, this is not a cheap thing to do.
We're actually, while I'm here, we're filming. So, you know, on the 15th, Sonny comes into town, and we'll be down, you know, in the Orlando area.
Yeah.
But we're, there's this, George and Kat. They have Revolution TV, and they've done some stuff with Brian Head from Korn.
Yeah.
You know, Head Welsh, and they do very, very good camera work. So they have a union camera crew, television studio, and so they just hit me up yesterday. Danny Hill, my producer, and they said, "Hey, let's switch it around a bit." I said, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Well, why don't you tattoo and you'll tattoo the interviewer,
okay,
and they'll be interviewing you guys for this one." Because what they want,
that's cool.
What they want is they want us to be interviewed for their show.
I got you.
So in doing that, we're gonna allow that to happen.
You're gonna do a collaboration,
and we're gonna take some of that for
your show, right? Exactly.
Right, and then we have Rockville coming up, and so Sonny P.O.D is playing Rockville, Lincoln Park, all the bands, Marilyn Manson, all of them. And we're going to be filming the show. In fact, I've asked Israel to help with that. We're going to be filming it there live as well, doing some live stuff on YouTube with all the different musicians and stuff.
Yeah.
And me and Sonny going around talking to people.
Right.
And then tattooing as well. So
that'd be great.
That's going to be kind of like our first real episode.
Yeah.
When we lose there. Yep.
I love it. I love that idea.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were famous enough, I would say, "Hey, we should do that for us," and I'll come out there and get
totally.
Mike, I'm sure they're gonna like my. I'm sure they're gonna like my Israeli flag tattoo at the some of the bands at the rock festival.
And some of them are Jewish, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
They won't have a problem. It's not, honestly, you know, the rock festivals aren't like that. I know that there's a lot of political things going on right now.
But they're not very political.
No,
I mean, they don't.
When you're backstage, bro, and you're hanging out, unless you're with a certain guy that has a major political agenda, and there's only like, I think, dude, in all of our years of tattooing, there's one band, I'm not going to mention it, one guy, I'm not going to mention who he is. He does nothing but political outreach, and it's whatever. He asked Sonny to do it, Sonny's like, I'm cool, man, I don't get into that stuff.
Right.
And we don't get into that stuff.
Right.
Because, dude, honestly, bro, Jesus don't get into that stuff.
Right.
So I'm like, hey, I'm just here to love on you, and I haven't found, in all the years of touring, I have not seen from A to Z a group of people, oh my God, you support that, you know, because honestly, it don't come up, you know. And Sonny will rock a freaking Star of David on his shirt.
He don't care.
You know, it's reggae, whatever, dude, Israel, whatever.
Yep.
We love Israel. I don't care what anybody says. I love everybody.
Well, you've been there even. You've been there a couple times now. You went with me.
Okay,
and then,
I don't, you know, I want to really make it clear, you know, with what's going on today. And it's very sad what's going on today. There's some bad actors in the mix, you know, and they're causing a lot of bad things. I'm not 100% for this government. I'm definitely not for that government. But for the people, I'm for the people.
Yeah, of course.
And, you know, there's a lot of innocent people getting hurt.
There's a lot of people in the wars that are being killed in both Europe and in the Middle East right now. Innocent people who are just under wicked regimes.
Absolutely.
And we've, even here in America, innocent people have been under corrupt government
Absolutely.
administrations from time to time. So that's not a reflection on the people.
Nope.
You know, it's a reflection on the regimes that are running these countries and are creating these wars and situations. So,
There's only one government in our life.
you know, Jesus is we're in the kingdom of God. And when you're in the kingdom of God, you love everybody. Okay. You don't agree with everything, but you do love everybody.
That's
And
right.
and that has to radiate out of you, you know, in life.
Yeah, because how else can you be a light?
You're not a light if you're hating on anybody. There's no hate in God. None. None. So
He didn't say blessed are the haters.
no, he did not. Blessed are the peacemakers. Okay. So thank God for that. So anyway, Paul, more questions here for Mike.
I was just hoping that you guys will include some B-roll in Off Point TV
Yeah.
of Mike driving, because we need to see it.
Oh,
That needs
Lord.
to be included.
How is this-
Israel, that's got to be included, right?
How is this becoming the topic?
It is a topic. It is a
You're going
topic.
to give so much fuel to my family at home. My wife, dude.
Because she's on your case too about it, right? But I will say this: you took my family
Yes.
in I want to say we were in San Diego
Yes.
to a unbelievable steakhouse.
Yes.
You drove.
Yes.
You drove very nice.
Thank you.
Didn't cause one. He didn't even break the speed limit because he had my family in there, and it was and by the way, you took us there to this place, and the food was incredible.
Oh,
You know, you're speaking. If you wanted to get somewhere and you had a chauffeur or an Uber driver, Mike is your guy. to
Yeah.
go. I mean, he should be in the Secret Service. Yesterday, Kristen and last night, we were on the golf cart. And we were going like 20, and this fire truck didn't have his lights on, but it was just going like 60 miles an hour. And Kristen goes, is that truck going really fast? And I said, oh, yeah, definitely. I said, but they have a reason to do it. And I said, you know what? I just realized Mike missed his calling in life. He should have been a firefighter.
He should have been.
He is so ready to go. Like, he could climb down the ladder. He could go down the pole, jump in the rig, get to the house, save the kids, save the kittens, save the puppies, get everybody out, go back, and have a coffee in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He's always ready
Without
for work,
breaking
for
a
action.
sweat.
I'm not
Right.
even talking about driving. He's just ready to work, to go and get things done and make it happen. There's no excuses with Mike. He gets things done.
He does.
Period.
And I've
If
seen
someone else
him
can't get
working
done,
here.
he gets it done.
You guys, Israel, you threw a concert here with
Joshua
Aaron and Aaron Schutz,
Schutz.
and Mike was here, and Mike helped set this whole thing up with you and others. But his experience and expertise and hard work and willing to jump in and say, what do you need to do? It was a great concert. We had 600 or 700 people here. It was a phenomenal concert. And
amazing.
yeah, and
I was kind of freaked out because I
You were
always did
stressed out.
concerts, but I never promoted concerts or put them together. I would just go do a concert and then leave town, let everybody else clean it up.
right.
You know, but this was going to be like, we didn't know if we were going to have 300 people or 700 people or 1,000. We had like 800
Yeah, it was
well,
huge.
and then it happened in October.
It was in October.
right after October 7th. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
you sure did.
I just called Mike and said, man, I might need your help. And he bought his own ticket and flew out here.
You know what's funny about that? When he called me the first time, he called me on the phone. He said, "Hey, Mike, dude, we're thinking about having this concert here, and you know, I really think it'd be cool if you came."
Yeah, I need some help.
And I'm like, I am not flying to
Florida.
to go to a concert, bro. And then the Lord spoke to me right then and there.
Yeah.
He needs your help.
Yeah,
And I was
need
like,
your help.
What? So I already started looking at tickets, right?
Yeah.
So he calls me back the next day. Hey, Mike, I think I might need your help.
Yeah.
I go, I'm already getting tickets, bro.
Already getting tickets. The Holy Ghost, the Holy Spirit of God has already talked to me. Yeah.
But, you know, as far as being all ready to go and everything, you know, since the heart attack, it's kind of slowed me down a bit, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think I played really good golf a couple days ago with Larry.
Did you?
Hit the ball farther than ever,
Yeah. There you go.
you know? I mean, that was cool, but
You just got to pace yourself a little bit now.
it's 85% now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You're coming back.
Something.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I really hope I really enjoyed this interview with you and all the guys. Really, and this Paul. I mean, this has been really good. It's real, you know, and that's what we want these podcasts to be.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today on the Paul Begley Podcast. New episodes will be released every Tuesday on all major podcast streaming platforms. For a video recording of this episode, you can watch and subscribe on our YouTube channel at Paul Begley Podcast. Hey guys, we want you to connect with us. Follow us on X and Twitter at Paul Begley Pod. We'd love to hear your questions you want us to answer on the show. For additional Paul Begley content, go to our website at paulbegleyprophecy.org. If you've thought about it, we'll talk about it. Paul Begley Podcast.